Imagine that, you die at the age of 39, because of an unknown reason, and you are able to meet a god. Only to find out that, you were living a life filled with hardship and loneliness, just because, God made a mistake and didn't give you any luck. Such is the story of our protagonist, Michio Hiraku, who has been reincarnated by the gods in a world of magic and demons, after dying at the age of 39, due to an incurable sickness. The story starts with an ECG machine, revealing that a person has just died. And, the boy watching the dream, suddenly wakes up. He goes out of his room, and a one-horned cute girl wishes him good morning. While walking around the house, he hears a sound and goes into the kitchen to find out that, yet another slime has entered the kitchen, and he stops the maid from killing it out of anger. He then goes outside, and is greeted by another cute girl, with long ears, and just then, yet another cute girl comes flying down holding her dress tightly, since YouTube doesn't like censored content. We see that, various types of people and monsters, mainly beautiful waifus, are living together peacefully. And our boy suddenly starts thinking about his past, when he didn't think it was possible for him to have such an amazing harem of calendar girls by his side, living his life comfortably. In the previous life, his name was Michio Hiraku, and after he died, his soul was called upon by the god of this world, and he starts talking with him. Since he had a really tough life getting betrayed by others, and died after falling ill with a terminal disease, the god decided to give him a second life in another world, with a perfectly healthy body this time. The god thinks that, it was partially his fault, for letting him live such a hard life, and this is an act of penance for his past mistake. Michio is quite confused, but he agrees upon the idea of a second life, and the god grants him the wish to request for anything that could help him live his life in any way he wants. To this, he reveals that he wants to learn farming. And, since he is an introvert, he wants to live peacefully, farming away the lands, till he dies. But, it looks like, farming doesn't fall under his jurisdiction, since he is in charge of guest relation department. He gets on a call with the farming minister of gods, with his invisible Nokia F100. With a quick call, God gives him the go signal, to live a healthy green life, full of beautiful girls. And he gives Michio the power of Almighty Tool, since he definitely needs that for his future endeavors. With this, he flickers him away into the new world, where he wakes up with a new avatar setting, in the middle of a forest. He realizes that, he has actually been reincarnated, and he is extremely delighted having a healthy body, since he was bedridden to his death. And he starts planning of living out an amazing life of a farmer, in this new world. Since he is inside a forest, and there is almost no chance of meeting someone here, his survival instincts kick in. He quickly summons for a hoe, using his almighty tool, and starts farming.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Because of the magical powers of his tool, he finds it really easy to dig around, and he carves out a weird pattern in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, he realizes that, he needs to find food and shelter, and uses his daredevil senses, to scout out the area. He arrives at a big-ass tree, with thick round trunks, and decides to use that place as his base of operation. Since he couldn't find any ponds nearby, he tries to search for underground water canals using a dandy technique, which goes totally to waste. Next, he summons a shovel, to shove it into Mother Earth, in order to dig a well. Looks like, he can summon almost every kind of farming-related tools, when he imagines it. He starts digging a well really quickly, since he doesn't feel tired while using the tool, but soon realizes that he cannot get out like this. Therefore, he starts digging the second one, diagonally, and very soon, he digs deep enough for water to start coming out of the hole. He realizes that, he doesn't feel hungry while using the farming tools, and therefore skips the plan of eating, and starts building his base of operations. Before cutting a tree, he tries to remember the proper method of cutting it with an axe, but he realizes that, all he needs to do, is just swing that axe once, and the tree falls down like a Jenga block. He starts chopping up the tree with a hatchet, like cutting a block of cheese, and he starts gathering lumbers. In order to build a house, he recalls his early experiences from the farming sim game he used to play. As it is about to get dark, he is a bit worried, and tries to summon matchbox and lighter, in order to start a fire for the night. But since those tools are not under the jurisdiction of the farming god, he tries to summon a magnifying glass, and he is successful. He carves out a small hole in the trunk of a tree, as a makeshift shelter, and while practicing his wood carving skills, the morning arrives. He hurries up, to use the sunlight to generate fire, and starts clearing out the area with his one-strike almighty tool. Just as he is thinking about making something to eat, a dangerous-looking rabbit jumps out of the bush, but he just one-strikes the rabbit with his tools, and cooks up some kebabs, to fill his stomach. Since he started eating now, he needs to create a place for that leisure period, which we call the bathroom. As he is a modern-gen human being, he can't enjoy his leisure time in an exposed setting, and builds up a proper toilet room for himself. He gets back to his farming, and while digging up the lands, he starts thinking of various vegetables he wants to grow, and just then he realizes that he doesn't even have any kind of seed to begin with. The next morning, he sees that plant leaves have started sprouting even without any seeds, and he realizes that he can grow any crop using the powers of his magic tool. And, in order to protect his field from wild animals, he starts building a fence around it. The crops are growing at a rapid rate, because of the magic tools, and he is finally able to build himself a hut. A major upgrade from living like a tree person. One day, he encounters two badly injured dogs and invites them inside the fence, in order to feed them some meat. He notices that the female dog is pregnant, and while eating, she suddenly goes into her birthing phase. Michio is flustered upon seeing it, and gives them his newly built house, for a safe and comfortable childbirth. While waiting impatiently at his tree house, he falls asleep. Next morning he rushes in to check up on them, and sees that she has successfully delivered the puppies. He gives them some more meat in order to celebrate the childbirth, and it seems like they are going to stay here from now on. He builds a new house for himself, and the time has come for harvesting the crops he planted earlier. Meanwhile, the god is wondering about Michio's whereabouts, and wanted to know what he was up to, after being reincarnated in that world. The god realizes that he has made another mistake by accidentally teleporting him to the forest of death, in order to start his new life. Since it is a really dangerous place for anyone to live in, he thinks that Michio must already be dead, and he prepares himself to apologize to him again when his soul returns back. Farmer Boy is starting to understand the powers of his farming tools, and he realizes that, if he thinks hard enough about any particular crop while digging with his tools, the exact plant will start growing. Thus, he experimented with a variety of crops, and he is finally becoming a full-fledged farmer. Since he is grateful to the gods, who gifted him such a peaceful life, he builds up their statues, in order to pay them respect. He cooks up some boiled shit with rabbit meat, since he doesn't have any spices or salt. And they all enjoy a completely organic lunch. Michio then starts planting fruits this time, by using his weird crop dance. While waiting for the crops to grow, he teaches the dogs to play fetch with him, and everyone is seen to be lining up for their turns, patiently. Except for this one. Using his dogs, he is now able to explore the forest, and he discovers a waterfall that is 30 minutes away from his base of operations, and he decides to build a water tunnel between the two places, along with a toilet near the waterfall. Michio summons a wheelbarrow using his tool power, to use it for traveling, since using those tools don't drain his energy, and he can travel without getting tired. While he is hopping away happily thinking about his new idea, he trips and falls because of bad road. Back at his base, he clears out more forest in order to expand his farming area. He starts planting various different crops this time, but he still hasn't found a proper source of salt. After some time has passed, the weather is starting to become cold, and Michio thinks about preparing some winter clothes. He tries to use the thick skin of the monster rabbit, like a caveman, but it smells so terrible that he gives up on that idea. One day, the dog barks about an intruder, and Michio sees a spider that looks like a fuzzy black cushion. Spidey shoots out his web, and instantly prepares a nice little handkerchief for him, embroidered with his personal branding. Spidey starts living on a tree in his base of operation, and in return for a treehouse and some potatoes, Spidey provides him with some trendy-looking jackets. Since the spider is really skillful, it also prepares various different things for him, and the place starts to look much more civilized. And from his first impression, he names the spider as Zabuton. The winter has arrived, and while Michio is enjoying a no-salt hot potato, he starts feeling lonely, and hopes to find someone to talk to. After the winter season ended, the puppies, who are now big, start leaving the base, in order to find a mate for themselves. And they all come back after a few days, along with their waifus, by fighting and winning against the other doggies. As for Mommy Spidey, Michio sees that she has given birth to a group of cute little baby Spideys. One day while farming, Michio hears the warning bells placed by Zabuton, and Kuro leads him to the place where they have caught the intruder. And Michio comes upon his first waifu, who is a cute, white-haired girl. She is afraid of being surrounded by our doggies, and requests Michio to save her. Since it has been such a long time, talking to someone else, he immediately goes on to cover her body with his jacket like a gentleman, but in return, she immediately bites him and starts sucking out his blood like a vampire. This helps her to regain the magic she lost, and she transforms from a cute loli to a mature busty. But, since she bit their master in front of them, the doggies beat the crap out of her. Michio somehow stops them from attacking, and she reverts back to a loli again. He tries talking to her about the situation, and she apologizes for biting him suddenly, and begs him to stop the dogs from attacking. She explains that she needed to suck on his blood, since she was completely low on magic. And since he feels bad for her, for getting beaten up by his dogs, he lets her suck him one more time. She sucks only a little bit, to gain enough magic for maintaining her clothes. But, since our boy probably doesn't like loli, he asks her to suck it up as much as she wants, in order to go full busty again. He brings her to his base of operations, and she is excited to see his farmhouse and the different types of crops he has planted. Later, when she is writing away her findings on a magical tablet, Michio reveals that her name is Lulu Lucy, and she is indeed a vampire. Lu mentions about her fight with the nobles, who were trying to steal her research, and she ended up coming to this forest. Since Michio was feeling really lonely and helpless, he begs her to stay with him forever, and she is completely blushed by his sudden proposal. He is confused when she starts talking about proposal and stuff, but since he doesn't want to live alone, he agrees to everything she says and begs her again. She finally accepts his proposal, and he is so happy that he tackles her hard, instead of just hugging her. The next morning, Lu requests him to grow medicinal herbs in his plantation, to which he agrees, and she is shocked to find out that they actually don't need any seeds to start planting the herbs. Michio and Lu have been living together for a while now, and she has been really helpful to him by lighting up his toilet and helping him find salt that was literally in his backyard. Next day, they go to check up on the fruit plantation, and while they are enjoying their cup of herbal tea, Spidey rings the alarm bell again, indicating the presence of an intruder. They rush into the forest, and Michio comes upon his sexy blonde angel waifu, who is bondage tied by the spiders, in the same way when Lu was captured, and she starts begging them to save her. Michio frees her from the web, and she uses her magic to instantly heal herself. Just as Lu was trying to hide from the angel, she immediately recognizes her, and it seems like the angel lady has been trying to find out her location for a while now. But, since no one should raise their voice in front of their master, the dogs beat the crap out of her as well. They go back to their house, and while talking, both girls start reminiscing about their near-death traumatic experience, fighting those cute dogs. When Angel Lady asks her about Michio, she says that he is her husband, and the angel is shocked to find out that they are in a relationship. She introduces herself as Tia of the angel race, and Lu comments that they are a race of warriors that has more muscles than brain. Tia reveals that Lu has a bounty on her head for causing damage to the town she used to live in, and she is trying to catch her. She honestly accepts her crime, and this throws Tia for a loop, since she is being so sincere. But Lou mentions that being beaten up by a bunch of dogs really broke her confidence. With that, she suddenly tries recruiting Tia to live with them from now on, and Michio is completely okay with that. They show her around the place, where she also meets Zabuton, and she faints upon seeing her. Michio starts teaching her the basics of farming, and for no reason, they suddenly start eating salt-sprinkled raw cabbage. She is even amazed at how fresh vegetables taste so good. Evening comes, and after they have harvested enough, both girls clean up themselves using magic, and Michio is a bit jealous of it. Tia feels that farming might be much more fulfilling than it seems, and Lou starts begging her to join them, since her body won't hold up under all this hard work if she did it by herself. Tia somehow agrees, and they all start living together. With the help of Tia's magical golems, they are able to grow their farmlands easily, and she starts thinking about getting some more people to work with them. Since the doggy family has grown in size, Michio builds them a new house, big enough for all of them. While some of the baby Spideys fly away with the wind for a new adventure, while some of them stay back at the village. Even Tia informs him that she needs to go somewhere for a while, and she flies off. Few days later, Tia returns back to the base with a new group of young beautiful elves to take part in Michio's harem adventure of farming life. They introduce themselves as the Lee sisters, and they request Michio to let them live here, and Tia reveals their tragic backstory. Their village was destroyed during the war that happened 200 years ago, and they have since been wandering like stupid nomads, and haven't been able to find a home for themselves till now. Seems like their only objective for this century is to find a home, and repopulate themselves with the help of Michio, if you know what I mean.
I don't like where this is going.
He agrees to let them stay in their base, and Lou introduces them to the rest of their crew. They started building up more houses, toilets and garbage dumps, and the elves are shocked to see the one-strike potential of Michio's tool. With the help of the elf sisters, they were able to complete their new big-ass house within 10 days. Michio starts sulking, since he is jealous of their talents. But he cheers himself up, and everyone takes a trip of the house. The first floor is built for dining and storage rooms, while the second floor has their individual rooms. While looking around the house, Michio secretly hopes that the elves can live peacefully here. The elf team starts working on the farm with Michio, and looks like they can eat raw garlic without any problem. While Michio is talking to one of the elf, he is shocked to hear that living routines of elf were much similar to that of human beings, since he thought they used to live like a caveman. The elf requests Michio to let her start the mining and blacksmithing work in their base, by building a furnace to melt iron. Michio accepts her request, and they start putting up their workstation. The elves quickly start working, and he is amazed by the things they can create. Looks like the only thing they were not able to practice for the past 200 years is to have some kinky time in order to repopulate themselves.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
Later, while they are harvesting, pink-haired elf asks for Michio's permission to use the flour in order to bake them breads, to which he happily accepts, and the elf sisters start working on that dough. Everyone enjoys the freshly baked breads, and Michio realizes that the elf must have had natural yeast in that jar, which made the bread so fluffy. While eating the bread, he suddenly realizes something important, and asks Lou if this place belonged to someone else. To this, Lou replies that this forest falls under the territory of the Demon Lord, and Michio is super scared upon hearing it. But according to vampire logic, if you build something with your own resources, then that land belongs to you.
What?
At night, while waifu number 1, 2, and 3 are talking about their future husband and his skills, we find out that the dogs belong to a race of inferno wolves, while the cute little spider is actually a demon spider. Do you think Michio is going to stay faithful to Lou, or is he going to commit polygamy, like the other harem protagonists out there? Let us know in the comments section. If you have enjoyed the video so far, consider leaving a like, and subscribe to our channel, to help us create more amazing content for you. Stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.